Hello everybody, this is Tali, Berman, Autism Specialist, and welcome back to my Autism and Puberty series, a topic that I think definitely needs to be talked about more, a place where parents have definitely come to me looking for guidance, and so that is exactly why I've created this series. So we are in strategy 3. If you missed strategy number 1 or strategy number 2, I encourage you to access those videos. The links are all right here on this page. So you can really get all the strategies and all the tools you might need to help your child move through this transition in the most graceful and supportive way possible. So, just briefly, the first strategy was educating your child about puberty, getting into it, getting books out, looking at pictures, really understanding what's happening in their body and all the processes they might be going through. Strategy number 2 was exercise and the importance of exercise always, but especially during this stage of life. And strategy number 3 is independence. Finding the ways your child can be independent. I know many families that I've worked with were just around that age. A child is either verbally or non-verbally showing and expressing his or her desire to be more independent, just like any other kid at this age wants to do. To really feel their own self, their own independence, their own abilities, their own confidences. Now, this is something that might naturally occur with other children, but with children on the autism spectrum, might not be recognized in the same way, and it's just as, if not more important, for children with autism, people on the autism spectrum, to really experience this kind of independence because they are literally growing up. So, what I encourage you to do is either have a conversation with your child, really talk about, is there a particular area that you'd like to be more independent in? Right? And I've had a family do this with their child. He was really clear. He wants to be wiping his butt by himself. He wants to be tying his shoes by himself. And as he's gearing in towards adolescence, he's not doing those things independently. And so they're really creating schedules and systems around helping him gain those skills. So this could be either a conversation if your child is highly verbal, but even if your child is not, you can make a list of things and ask yes or no questions, and they could either point whether they like to become independent in that area, dressing themselves if they're not dressing themselves independently already, feeding themselves if they're not already independently feeding themselves, preparing their food if they're not already doing that themselves. One family I work with has a 12-year-old son. His now biggest joy is making himself smoothies and pancakes and salads on his own in the kitchen. That was something they never thought he'd be able to do, and he has a real love and joy in doing it, and it's a great way for him to become independent. Right? There's also independent skills like going shopping, right? Taking your kid grocery shopping and letting him go through the grocery store and adding the items that are on the list and going to the cashier and putting the items on the belt, bringing the groceries to the car, unpacking the groceries, right? And you might do this on stages and in phases. Taking care of a pet, walking the dog, feeding the dog, right? So making their own bed. Finding the ways that your child most wants to be independent. Well, actually, I just think about a mom who her son has expressed through typing, he wants to go on a bike ride on his own. Usually he goes with his mom and she's watching him, understandably so. He wants to be on his own on the bike, right? So now we're trying to find ways that we can find a park that has a loop where he can ride on his own, but you can always keep an eye on him to know where he is just to make sure that he's safe so he can have that experience. The more independence you give your child, the less frustration your child can experience about not having the kind of independence that other kids his age might have. And that frustration usually manifests itself with agitation, self-injurious behaviors, irritability. So this is all about trying to address those issues so that your child doesn't have to experience that and manifest it in those kinds of behaviors. So I encourage you, have a conversation with your child, try to understand where does he want to become more independent, and then make a plan to help your child step by step have more independence in his daily life. I'd love to hear from you. Scroll on down and let me know what is one thing you're taking from this video today.